Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the National Parents Union presents Speak Your Truth with yours truly, Vivett Dukes. Tonight, we are jumping right in with our guest, Mr. Alberto Rivera, who I thank him for being on tonight. Mr. Rivera, I apologize for the technical difficulty. Mr. Rivera was actually here to be a guest last week, and we had some challenges, and he was gracious enough to join us again. So we thank you, sir, for taking time out to be here with us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm feeling good.
You're looking good. I see you repping Boricua. Hey, what's going on?
Listen, it's the way I've been all day, Boricua, all day.
Those are my people. My very best friend that I grew up with is Puerto Riqueña from Catano. I was there a couple years ago to bury her father, so I have a big love affair with the island of Puerto Rico. So welcome.
Thank,
You're welcome.
thank you.
Yes. Now, Mr. Rivera, we invited you here tonight, and I think you have such an important message to share because you've spent the bulk of your life incarcerated. Can you tell us about that, please? How long did you spend inside?
I served a total of 35 years straight, from 1983 till 2019, October 15, when I was released.
35 years. So, if we could go back a little bit, could you tell us what parts of your childhood do you think contributed to you winding up in prison? Because it sounds like you went in when you were still fairly young.
The bottom line is, I'm going back about to 1967, when I was about 9 years old. I really come from a dysfunctional family. Parents that were truly abusive. I was basically raised at the end by my moms. And in 67, I was introduced already to the street games, to what was narcotics, alcohol, and numbers. That was something that was set before me and put into me one of the most negative words they could ever put into someone. To think negative and forget about the positive. You don't have to do right to do wrong. From 1967 to my day that was incarcerated was nothing but disaster.
So, what was school like for you? Were you involved in school at all? What messages were given to you about education as a young child?
I went to about the ninth grade at Mark Twain Junior High in Brooklyn, Coney Island. I didn't really get much out because I had to drop out of school based on what I don't even like using the word tradition, what my parents chose to do. They had to go out and make money to help the family survive. I had to leave school to sell drugs. That's a decision my parents made for me, which towards the end became drastic.
And how old were you at that time when you started selling drugs to help support your family?
I was 9 years old. When I first started, I got really, really involved in it, moving it, packing it, transporting it at the age of 15.
And by 16, you were incarcerated.
Yes.
So, what life lessons did you learn in prison that you'd like to pass on to a young person who may be watching this now?
The lesson is the foundation, and this is my opinion, personal opinion, the foundation of life is education. Without it, you can't really succeed or move on. What I took out of the entire experience of the street life and winding up in prison is that I'm not going to get nowhere without an education. I made decisions finally on my own to get my GED. From there, I moved on to going to college because I was inspired by numerous motivational speakers like Lester Brown. Reading these books showed me that knowledge is powerful. On the ignorance, the ban of ignorance, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could really think about but continue to follow the blind and get deep and deep into the hole of the streets. The streets will swallow you. I learned that. Prison will destroy you, but it could also build you back up and make you the man that, I don't want to get in a religious aspect, but that God or your parents meant for you to be. And education will take you a long way. And I'm learning at an old age and the hard way.
So at what point in your at what point in your bid did you get this revelation, like, listen, I need to get my education, I need to get myself on track? How old were you and how much time had you done by that point?
I did about a good 15 years. When a friend of mine approached me and told me how he came in, which is similar to me, and that I should get my GED, and if I don't want to get my GED, that I can no longer be part of the crew. So it was a thing like sort of like a threat. If you don't do this, you can't be with us. So it's a lonely life in there. I didn't want to be alone, so I tried it. I went in, I took a chance. They helped me in the yard to read and write, get my education back up. I took the GED, I did pass it. I passed it with a fair score, and just getting the GED motivated me that I want more. There is more. I could read better than what I'm reading. And that's when I decided to enter a Dutchess Community College to get me a business degree. Based on the system, the way it works, transfers from prison to prison, I wound up in Sing Sing where I had to change careers from business to behavior science, which is something I appreciated the day that happened, because it allowed me to understand people now, to communicate with people, look at people, how they feel, their problems. When I see a kid that's in trouble or planning to get in trouble, it gives me the opportunity to talk to them, to address what I went through and who I am today. That's, to me, the foundation basically that I've been learning. Then I learned in prison. Before my release, I did graduate with an associate's degree in behavior science. I'm halfway towards my bachelor's degree.
Wow, good for you. Congratulations to you. And I'm sorry you missed out on all those credits. So when you left the prison where you were offered classes in Dutchess County, they did not honor those credits when you went to Sing Sing? You lost all of those credits?
No, I kept the credits.
Oh,
I
good.
did transfer them to Sing Sing. I lost some, but not all of them.
Good, but you were able to use those credits to help you get your associate's degree.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
And it kept me on the journey, because this behavior science degree I have, and I'm striving for the bachelor's. It's a very good degree because it's something I wanted to do my entire life now. The day I walked in, I seen kids coming after me. More kids. It was 35 years. I saw tons of kids coming in, either committed suicide, going out worse, and returning with 25 to life.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no one there really, or they didn't want to reach out to help them. And it's something, a goal I set is, as a survivor of the system, to try my best to help someone to avoid and enter the system.
Wow. Could you tell us a little bit more about the behavioral sciences program and why it resonated so deeply with you? What did you learn in that program?
You know, one of the most fundamental aspects of it is, there's a book that was course in English. I think it was English 116 on the Harlem Renaissance. Basically on the history of the Black Africans at that time, what they were going through Harlem, the changes. And each time I read a book and I got deeper into it, I saw myself in it and my family, what we went through. And as I kept going through Renaissance ages and went to present to learn the culture, the history, what is it for a person that's talking to himself, going through issues and problems, how to address that person. I never had that skill to be able to talk to someone or even give them a piece of advice. Today, I could study the person, understand the person, what they're going through, and have the opportunity to share the wisdom God gave me with them.
That's so profound, and I love what you're adding to our conversation, and really just saying it's never too late, because there are not in every prison an education is not offered, and there's a lot of pushback against that from people who say, well, what sense does it make to educate someone who's already thrown their life away? But that is not true. You're living proof that that isn't true, that as long as there's breath, there's hope, and that even as a man, you were in your 30s before you really started taking school seriously, but once you did, you kept going and you kept going. And I think there's something really admirable about that, because it's harder to learn things as we get older. So the fact that you keep pushing yourself, it's just very powerful. How did you make it through 35 years? I have to be honest with you, I'm really still stuck on that number. That amount of time seems, not seems, it is a really long amount of time. How did you do that time?
You know, it wasn't easy at all because I was really running negative life up till I chose the educational path.
Yeah.
I only did it one day at a time. Like I told you earlier, I like reading books about motivational speakers to motivate me to keep going and striving. So to do that, I had to do one day at a time. I came up with a little motto: in order to avoid violence, behavior, getting involved with negative people, was never let no one steal my joy. It's something I still use, and I think about it when I'm ready to leave the house. Don't ever let someone steal your joy. Because if I allow someone to dominate my way of thinking and believing, and try to hit one of the old triggers to get me angry or upset, where I could slip and commit a crime, it's no longer worthy to me. So I have to always remind myself when I wake up to thank God that He woke me up, gave me another chance. And then always think about, don't let no one, have no one, not mother, brother, wife, sister, no one steal my joy. That's my happiness. I want to live smiling every day. It's not that I'm doing great that day, but I'm not going to let my problems become your problems or anyone's problems. And that's basically what motivated me in the system. And it was like people like John, good people who were established on a positive attitude. And when I met them, it was a joy. It was another route I had to pull on when I was feeling down. There were brothers like, oh my God, I just forgot his name, that runs Hunts and Link, Sean Pico. Another one who showed me success by coming in and encouraging me to don't give up, to keep going. There were many days I said, you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm tired of this. The pro board ain't letting me go. I might as well do what I'm going to do. I'm dying here. And after 10 hits, the logo of never let no one steal my joy, and the education process kept working on me. The greatest joy in my life occurred in prison. The day I graduated with my associate degree, I did something I never believed I could do or accomplish. And that's the greatest joy in my life.
How has life been for you since you've been home?
I've been home now approximately about 10 months, going on 11.
Okay.
It's not easy. Work is, or to find a good job is not easy. I went through about 3 or 4 jobs. The one that guided me throughout the whole thing, I don't know if you're familiar with them, the Center for Employment Opportunity.
No.
They call CEO.
Oh, really? Talk to us about them. They were helpful to you?
Okay, CEO, what they do is, when people release, the parole officer is supposed to give them a letter, go CEO. CEO trains you for 1 week, and then they put you out to work at $15 an hour. A max of 20 hours a week. If you want more, you got to earn them. And in the process, they teach you how to do a resume, help you with your resume, and they go out finding a job for you. Every job I had, and the new one I'm starting tomorrow, CEO helped me with it. CO has a great staff, some of them, not all of them. I'm not going to paint them on a high platter. You have a sister named Tamara, a great woman, a great person is out there to help every brother and sister to get a job. There's a lady named Becky Jacobs, great woman also, who's willing to help anyone that want to help themselves. And CEO, a lot of people incarcerated don't know about them or families, but it is a respectable program.
That's wonderful to know. CEO, and what does that stand for again? I'm going to reach out to them. What's the
Center of Employment Opportunity.
Center for Employment Opportunities, and where are they based?
50 Broadway in Manhattan.
In Manhattan. Okay, thank you so much. So now,
Yeah, I'll text you their phone number.
okay,
After the show, I'll text it to you.
thank you. I would appreciate that because, you know, a lot of people who are incarcerated, I don't have to tell you, as you were, they are parents also. And they still have that role of a parent, even though they've been incarcerated or just coming home from being incarcerated. What was that experience like for you, having children but being inside? And what is that like now for you, now that you're home?
You know, that's the biggest heartbreak you have incarcerated. That's one of the, it's hard to put in word what it is to be a parent incarcerated when you got to look at all the elements of the relationship with the mother, the life you live, and were you really there as a parent for your children? And I don't deny my children, but I do accept the fact that a true parent, a true father, mother needs to be there for their children. Once that bond is broken, it's hard. And for me, it was one of the hardest things to do, to keep communication with my children. I had 2 girls. I still have 2 girls, not had. It's not easy. I never understood what a parent was. But upon release, and see my daughters as adults and my grandchildren get the opportunity to help them grow up now, it's a privilege and an honor. It's one of the greatest joy anyone can have. And the opportunity given, it's a blessing. It's not luck, it's simply blessing. But incarcerated, it is one of the most hardest issues any human being, whether she's female or male, to experience incarcerated.
Did your children accept you? Like, were you able to maintain a relationship with them, or did you pick the relationship back up once you came home? Because that's a long time. 35 years is well into their adulthood.
In the beginning, I had great communication with my kids, with my daughters. True in the middle, as they started going from teen to adulthood, we lost communication, their interest of being with a man, a boyfriend, 1.5 children. So there was a good span, about 10 to 15 years, that I didn't hear nothing about them. But 5 years before my release, we reconnected. And it drew a special interest in my heart, a special love, especially for my grandchildren, when they came to hug me, call me Papa, and I didn't even know who they were. I was scared because they're children, I don't want to be accused of nothing. So I pushed them away at the beginning. When I see my older sister, she said, those are your grandchildren. And it brought tears, it brought joy. I couldn't stop talking about them. And even today, I still could keep talking about them, but they're 3 great girls. I have 3 granddaughters. I have a total of 8 grandkids. But from one daughter is 3, from the other one is 3 and 2.
You're a proud grandfather. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Oh, I see John is here joining us. Hi, John. We don't have you on video yet, honey, but I do see that you're on. It looks like John's going to be joining us, Mr. Rivera, once he gets on.
Okay.
Are your kids still a support system for you? Like
Who?
are your children still a support system for you, or who supports you in your journey of now re-entering society?
See, my children, they got their own profession. I do love them, I do care about them. And we do, through Facebook, the WhatsApp, we do communicate through it. But they have careers and jobs. They keep them focused. Neither one of them live in New York. One lives in Florida and the other one in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So it's hard to connect, but only on holidays I travel. Because being on parole, I just can't wake up and say, I'm going to Florida. It's a process. I need permission. It could take me from 1 month to 6 months to get permission to go. So what helps me is FaceTime and the phone.
Still a lot of blockages from getting to spend time with your family because of this distance, living far from one another. You still, after doing so much time, to still be under the supervision of the criminal justice system just seems very, very bizarre to me, that you still have to have parole, but hopefully that part of your life will pass and you'll have some time just unsupervised. John is here. Welcome. Hi. We can't hear you.
I just noticed. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hello, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing good, John.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Apologize for earlier, but definitely great to see you. I don't know where y'all at right now in the discussion, but it's good to see you, Mr. Rivera.
We're
Good to
just
see you too, man.
the supports that he has, and talking about his kids. I guess I would ask you, Mr. Rivera, what additional help do you need?
Say it again.
What additional support do you need?
See, right now, there's support that people need differently. At this point, what I'm doing for myself, I won't lose my sanity, I voluntarily asked to see a psychologist, someone that I could talk to and share with. I did go out and not just go on limbo. I went out and got me Medicaid, the welfare system, to help me in time of need. Now that I start new work on tomorrow morning, I'm going to let the welfare system go, but I'm going to hang on to the Medicaid because I already talked to them. Because I want to learn what is true responsibility as a working person. I never ever worked in my life. The streets was my life. This is my real first job that I got hired. I passed the urine, I passed the criminal background. I passed a lot of stuff, and it's weird. I did 35, and when they checked me for criminal background, they couldn't find nothing.
Wow.
And it's amazing because my faith truly is in God. That when he wants to blind someone to see something, to give me the opportunity, he'll do it. And I felt that these people's eyes somehow, some way were blind and gave me the opportunity, the second chance in life that I've been searching for.
John, I don't know if you want to jump in.
I mean, no, that's incredible. A great testimony as well, to say the least. For me, I would ask, and I don't know if you asked this already, being that I just joined, how is your life going with your daughter? Was that asked already?
We were just talking about it a minute ago. And
Okay.
I told her right now, it's the communication is basically phone or Facebook because the distance that they live in.
Okay.
One, I told you once before, one lives in Lancaster, the other one lives in Florida. And it's not easy with parole to get a pass to go see them.
Okay, so then moving forward, how is your wife, because you just got married, right? I don't know if you shared this with the viewers already, but if you didn't or did, I'm gonna ask, how is your marriage life coming
Right
along
now,
with everything? Like how is your wife able to support you after all these years? Like, and I don't mean support you just financially, I'm not talking about that, just support you mentally, spiritually after all those years that you served.
You know, John, and your wife, this is the first time in my life, I'm not going to kid you, that I met a woman that understands me and accepts me for who I am and how I am. She's one of the best moral support person I've been blessed with to be there with. Is the road smooth? No, we got bumps along the way. But one thing about it, and it's something that established, that without communication, we could never survive or succeed in the relationship based on my background and who she is.
That's okay. Well, that kind of answers what I wanted to know, because I know for myself it's been a struggle. You know, it's been difficult to come out, even with everything that I came out with and plans that I came out with, to navigate, you know, through society, through technology, and to not have to lean on my wife or to ask her certain things, or for her to have to come in, you know, just to assist me at times, you know. And for a man, and especially for men like us that have been out there and been doing things when we were younger, when we were out in society, the first, before we had even went to prison, to come back, it's a humbling experience, to say the least. So I was really curious, like, how did you manage? Because I've done a great amount of time, but you have done a tremendous amount of time behind that wall. So I'm grateful to
I want
hear.
to ask you, you know, John, this is my opinion. Okay, some people see it wrong. I see it as one of the best things that can happen. To me, a woman is a gift from God. Not the man to the woman, but the woman to the man is a gift of God. The moral support that they gave me, my wife, spiritually, mentally, physically, if I needed help financially, she's been there.
Yeah.
Without her, I don't know how to manage money, you understand? She's the one that guides me basically every day and pushes me to do things that I have to do, and I won't forget them. She's a strong one, and that's why I say I thank God for women, because they are strong, they are powerful, and they do know how to motivate a man.
Have you I know you was in school at one time. I don't know if you told our viewers that you were in college when I left. Have you finished school, or what's the thoughts with college right now? How is that working out?
I have my associate, I finished the associate degree. I got 33 credits right now on the bachelor's, and I'm
Yes.
waiting for Sean Peake due to COVID-19. There's no classes going on right now on the internet, and that's why I need to take mine on the internet. I can't do it going to school based on the job and my family life.
Yes. Well, that's great that you acquired your associates, because I just acquired mine. So that's great that you have that. Yeah, I didn't know you that you had got that. So that's great. You have a
Yeah.
degree under your belt.
I got it on May 5th, right? I think right after you left.
Yes.
Yeah, right after you left, May 5th, I graduated.
Congratulations, man. Yeah,
Thank you, man.
yeah. So Vivett, is there something that you would ask with that? Because I know Vivett loves school, you know, and
Mm.
again, I don't want to repeat some of the questions that may have been asked, but you know what? I want to keep going on. I want to keep talking to you because I haven't spoken to you in a while. You
Uh-huh.
know, yeah. I would say this to you: we're coming home, or I'm going to ask you this. We're coming home, and I heard some of the obstacles that you had to go through with the job training, not job training, but job search. And now that you're being blessed with a job, when that job starts, is that a job that, is it like a career that you want to pursue, or is it just a job temporarily? Because I know that was hard for me as well, to find something that I really wanted to do and that they would pay me for it. So is that still something that you're striving to like to make a better situation for yourself? Are you still looking for another job, or is that the job that you want?
See, the job is a maintenance job. It's something I like doing. But
Okay.
really, my plan is just, I need more financial aid for what I want to do. You know, I have a little hobby and a trade of making things.
Yes.
That's what I want to do, is a self-employed business of creating things and using the internet to sell it. To
That's
sell
great.
it through flea markets to make sure I keep going. I sit down with my wife and I tell her certain plans I have to run my own business. I thought it was easier than what it is, but it's going to take maybe a year from now. Because I got to put the money together.
Yes.
I'm learning how to manage money. I'm learning how to have a bank account now, a saving and a checking. I didn't
Yeah.
know these things exist. Now I have them both. You understand?
It's good.
And it's just a little process. The dreams cannot be fulfilled right at the present moment. It takes time, and you could achieve them if you put of yourself in it. And I'm putting all of me into what I want to do later on in the future.
You want to explain some of your hobbies? Because I've been privy to see some of your work. Even I know working in the what was that? It was events, what we call events at Sing Sing or most prisons around at least the New York area, that they have these events, and in the events you can have a children's center, and in the children's center is usually a person that volunteers. I was one of the volunteers, as there were others, and we would play with the children, or at least give them toys to play with, games, and hopefully have their, like, facilitated in a sense to get their parents to engage as well. Having said that, I remember you donated a beautiful house, like a doll house you made, with a car, with all types of things. I don't know if you have one. Like, I should have asked you that earlier, but I think that's worthwhile bringing up because you have some great talent, and you've done that with very little there.
See, I have about 2 of them that I started since I was released. I've
Yeah.
been unable to finish them. They're not called model houses, which
Okay.
I'm crafting the furniture deeper because now I got real wood. I have
Yes.
real tools. I don't
Mhm.
have to deal with cardboard to make it into wood to do that. I have everything now available. But
Yeah.
my goal is by summer, this spring coming up or summer, that I'll have a little shop that could do jewelry boxes, clocks, pictures, drawings, model houses, toy cars, something that could help me move forward and at the same time teach me how to help children in need. That I have the window where I could also still donate while I'm out here.
Yes.
Because I want to give back to children, to daycare centers, because that'll help a kid that would help another kid that I never got to help as a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I want to give back to them.
I mean, listen, when you brought that, gave me that dollhouse to bring down there for the children, they enjoyed it. They loved looking at it. People were amazed. The adults were amazed by the handcraft the craftsmanship that went into making such a. I mean, these things were huge, people. I mean, I can't even. I'm trying to put myself on the screen to show you, like, they were humongous, and 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 you had, like you said, so much detail. You would make the bathroom, the shower. I didn't even know what you made it out of, but I knew that most of it was cardboard, but it looked like wood, and you did it with so much detail that it was worth, to me, it was worth a lot of money. And a lot of people wanted to buy them. That was there, like, who made this? I would like to buy them. So I can only imagine what you can do out here now. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah,
But
that's
next summer, God willing, by next summer, you'll see some of my projects that I'm planning to do. It's just everything gonna take time and money. I
yeah,
learned it the hard way that it's better to earn your own dollar for you can move forward than borrow from a family and always be in debt.
yes,
So it's gonna take longer, but my goal, my aspiration is to accomplish this. And there's 2 other projects I'm working on.
hmm
It's basically dealing with, and I shared a little bit with your wife, survivors of the system, people who were incarcerated behind the wall. They come from broken families, broken homes. I want to bring some together, not to talk to them through a screen, but go into the neighborhoods and sit in the park and talk to these kids and
yes,
take them out of that negative attitude where they think that they run the world, that they own the world, until they wind up in prison and start complaining to mommy. I want to try to stop that before it gets to that level.
And make
No,
sure
I know. I mean, so many times we've had conversations where you wanna do something better for children because we've experienced something so traumatic and through whether decisions or through decisions in society or wrapped in one, coupled together, we have had our share of what is considered a traumatic experience. And for us to get that for us to create a new path for children or a path that perhaps even we knew about, but we didn't really understand fully at the time. And we went and diverted and went somewhere else and wound up landing in prison. It is imperative for us to try to, like I said, like you said, to make a difference in that way, to give back in that way. So now, having said that, being that you want to do things like that, and you said you're going to succeed in that in the sense of by going to these places. You already started out visiting, I guess, certain organizations, because I know you had linked me to something with Staten Island recently. It says something
I
on
know-
your Facebook, like a Staten Island activity or something like that. Is that true?
No, that's not Staten Island. I live out there. The program's basically right there in my hand. So I was assisting with a couple about the pro preparation project.
Oh,
Where
okay.
right, where we basically still fighting for people's right behind the wall. They could get them, they could release some of them. Because
Oh,
you know and I know, there's a lot of good brothers out there that's terminally ill. They
yeah,
have all their years in that deserve to come home already. And they're still holding them. So that's something we're working on, projects to help these brothers move on. My project is basically trying to
Sorry,
teach,
go ahead.
trying
yeah.
to teach a kid, or even you as an adult, anyone, what is the hardest thing in life when you're confronted with a problem? Is it easier to walk away or pull a trigger? And many people see it easier to pull a trigger. The hardest part is to walk away because some people don't want to be thought of as being punked.
Yes.
And we get in confrontations verbally. And you know me, how I used to get in arguments with people. I always wanted to fight.
Yes.
And I learned as I was graduating, before graduation, that it's harder to walk away and say, okay, you got that. Blessings,
Hmm.
and standing there and trying to be a macho man and wind up with a new 25 to life.
Well, now that's interesting, because what's interesting about that is that I would ask you now, how has education helped you in your life, especially getting a college degree? How does that how did that make you how did it help you and make you make right decisions now? Or if it did, or if it didn't do that, did education help you do that?
The education, it's taking its toll. It has lifted me to another level. I
Okay.
went from straight ABE when I first started to
Yes.
accomplishing something I never thought I could have, which was associate degree.
Yeah.
This here, this degree on behavior science, I believe everyone incarcerated should get it because it teaches you how to communicate, how to understand, how to walk away from violent confrontations, even peaceful ones when you hurt so much, how to walk away without offending people.
Yes.
And this is something that many people in society don't understand about people that were incarcerated or formerly incarcerated, is that we learn so much through education and being raised within the walls that freedom has value.
Yes.
And it teaches us how to understand people's behavior, how to walk away, and how to say thank you.
So let me ask you this then. What would you say to those people that don't believe in giving education, to people that's incarcerated, to people that feel like, well, you did a crime, why should we, in a sense, reward you because some people look at it like that, they view it like that. Why should we reward you for doing a crime, for terrorizing the community? We don't care about what you happened to you or what your circumstances were, but we know you committed a crime. What do you feel about people that are against education, for people like you and I, that, what would you say to them?
See, these people found it, a lot of them, when they refuse or angry that someone in prison is getting educated. What I would say to them is, it's simple, John. An education has value. If a person goes in as a cold-blooded killer, one day he's going to return to society. Do you want him to return the way he went in? Or you want him to return as a different person, educated, mature, to understand, and that you're safe now, not only you, your grandchildren and your children, because everybody incarcerated, I'll say 98% of the people one day is going to return to society. A lot of people had no hope on me that I would ever return. Even my own family, after being denied parole 10 times. But my fate and my struggle to get out of prison alive kept me alive.
Yeah.
And I returned to society a way different person than the young person that went in.
That's right. I think it's important for people to see that and to hear that, because far too many times people that they watch television, and you see the way they depict people in prison and stuff, and 9 times out of 10 it's always in a negative way, where they'll say, well, oh, don't drop the soap, or like little jokes like that. Oh, or people in prison, all they're doing is fighting and gang banging and everything, when that is not really the truth. And I think that what people that have came, like Hudson Link, for instance, people that have teamed up with people like Hudson Link, people like organizations rather, like MPU, our organization, Speak Your Truth, people that are, I think, that are doing things with wanting to educate and wanting to help people that are parents of and they have been incarcerated. They affected their children by being incarcerated, directly or indirectly. I just think that it's not only needed, which is obvious, but I think that it's beneficial to, like you said, to society on a whole. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, because you're coming from a 35-year deficit, in a sense, to come back to society. But like you said, you came back changed. You learned something. Even the degree that they gave us there was about your behavior, the way we think. We studied sociology, psychology. Like there were meaningful sessions and meaningful classes there that dealt with things that I believe that we needed, which I don't want to speak too long. I wanted to ask you this, that leads me to ask you this, is that, what do you feel about therapy? Like, have you been thinking about therapy for yourself from going through that traumatic experience of
And
incarceration?
now, John, yesterday I just had a meeting with my therapist.
Yes.
I'm not ashamed to go out and see a therapist, because one thing about a therapist, or even a third-party person, you can ventilate all your problems, tell them how you feel, and leave knowing you're leaving empty now, but with a newfound faith and a new experience that you can move on to that day. When I go see the therapist, and I encourage anybody who served over 5 years really to sit down and see them, because the wisdom some of these therapists have is not about medication. You don't have to get medication or take it. I don't. I go just to communicate with them, express how I feel, in hope that they could teach me something that would allow me to keep going forward. And every time I see her, I'm good for 30 days.
Yeah. I think that's important, Mr. Rivera. I think mental health is coming to the forefront, in a sense where people are speaking about it more, and it's not so much. It's still a stigma to it, but it's coming to the forefront in the sense now where people are recognizing that you don't have to be downtrodden, so to speak, for lack of better words, to be in a mental health crisis or something like that. You could be successful in the sense of your career, but still have mental health illness or mental health issue where you need even a psychiatrist or you may need medication. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think what's wrong is when people are not taking advantage of these things. So what I want to say now, being that time is winding down, I wanted to ask you maybe let's see, what would be, yeah, well, let's just do it like this. Do you have any closing thoughts? Maybe, like, do you have any closing thoughts that you might want to share with the viewers? Something you think that may benefit them, and meaning when I say them, meaning the people that may be going through a time where they lost their mother or father through incarceration, where there may be a child. You can't speak really from a child, but as a parent, how they may be feeling with that. Also, maybe I would ask you to touch on. Let's see.
I'd like to jump in for a
Oh,
second,
yes.
John. You're still formulating the question, it seems. I just wanted, I wanted to, Mr. Rivera, thank you, because time is running down. I want you to have the last word. So before we go, I thank you for just being on and sharing. You've dropped a lot of knowledge on us from a perspective that not many people who have it are willing to talk about. So thank you. I want to wish you all the best on your new job tomorrow, because to hear you say it's like your first job, no matter how young or old, your first job is your first job, and that's a big deal. So really shout out to you for that. And to continue to keep in touch with us here at the National Parents Union. You talked about businesses you want to open and a wonderful talent that you have with building things. So as you get that off the ground, please keep in touch with us, and we will reach out to CEO as well, because you said they're an organization that's really helped you in finding employment. And so we just thank you for being here and for giving us that. And you have these final words to close us out with tonight, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. I thank John. John also is a great person.
Thank
you. And just to close out, I would say to anyone that's out there watching, whether you're male or female, young or old, try to stay on the right path, man. Think positive. At the end of the road, if you stay in the negative path, the prison doors are there waiting to open. Leave them shut. Continue to get educated. Doesn't matter if you're young or old. It's never too late to strive and move on in life and be someone. Just stay focused and think positive. And that would be my closing point.
I thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. That's it for us here tonight. We have, thank you again to Mr. Alberto Rivera, our guest. Thank you, John, for being my co-host tonight. And for all of you viewing, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, we hope that it proves to be edifying to you, that the years that Mr. Rivera did will not be in vain, that you'll hear this and make a better decision and better choice for your life. Until next time, have a wonderful night. Take care.
Speak your truth. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Be good, John.
All right. Take care, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.